All right, welcome to CapeCast. Brandon, how are you doing this evening? How you doing?
Doing well, doing well. Thank you. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good. Ready to talk some Zack Snyder's Justice League? I mean, I'm always ready to talk some Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anytime, any place.
That's right.
Do it.
So for anybody who's watching who's not familiar with this is CapeCast. We talk about all things geek here. And we tend to spend a inordinate amount of time on Zack Snyder material. So we are currently
So much so that in our last live show, Mr. Britt had his own little counter that he just counted every time we said it. And that's just going to have to be a mainstay, I think.
Yeah, like 25 for a Falcon and Winter Soldier review is, we
might have a problem. Yeah. We finished each other's Zack Snyder's Justice
sandwiches. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So we actually just we just hit 500 subscribers on YouTube this past week. Woo! So we decided to start a Patreon. It's something that we've thought about doing for a while, but we wanted to wait until we had, a more substantial following. And see if people were actually interested in what we were talking about. So yeah, we launched our Patreon. It's just patreon.com/cinemachinepod, and links in this down below in this video. Any support you guys give us is hugely appreciated. Helping keep this show up and running. And yeah, so this is the 4th part review. We've got 5, 6, and an epilogue, and we're going to start having some pretty cool guests jumping in. Hopefully starting next week. So stay tuned for that. But what do you think, Brandon? Should we dive into this bad boy?
Yeah, we doing spoilers tonight, I assume? We need to that, or is that some spoilers? Yep, we are in full spoilers. If you're in a part 4, it's we're spoiling this.
That's true.
Yeah. Just in case somebody came for the general thoughts of part 4 alone. Make sure you're covered there.
That's right. All right. So part 4 is called Change Machine. And look at Brandon with the fully prepped graphics ready to rock. I love it. Yeah. So this part picks up on the rooftop at the bat signal. Yep. And Brandon, you wanna talk about your boy here?
Oh man, I paused this one at the very. It is the best
lightning
time.
Strike.
I took a screenshot right before this and then hit play after, and then the lightning. I was like, oh nope, delete that screenshot.
wait. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the most Batman of Batman shots, in my opinion. Just like the Dark Knight pose in BBS with the lightning strike before he kind of grapple guns away. Mm-hmm. This is another one of those just iconic Batman standing on a gargoyle.
There's a Prime 1/3.
Oh yes,
scale
I know
of this. Yeah, essentially this pose.
Yeah, and you can. It's got an interchangeable head, right? Maskless.
Yeah, it's got
cowless.
It's got cowless Bruce, which I'm always in for.
I am too.
It's one that I've kept an eye on to see if anybody will put it up for sale on eBay, and it's just everybody loves it because it's awesome. Nobody's gonna sell that thing, so
no.
I've resigned myself to accepting the fact that I'm not going to be able to track that guy down.
It's not only is it a great shot in this movie, yeah, that statue is amazing.
Yep.
As is all their stuff, but I digress.
Agree. So yeah, this is Gordon puts the bat signal up, and this is the first time we kind of get them all assembling on the rooftop here. Sans Aquaman. And Cyborg actually, this is the first time that Cyborg kind of shows up with this group as well. He has his meeting with Diana in a previous part. But yeah, anything specific that you wanted to talk about.
Well, this is that first, like back in what 2016 Comic-Con, I guess. They teased like had that like initial like footage where they actually had the Ezra like they just vanish or whatever he says. It's rude or whatever. Like they had that sequence was the scene I remember that they had like all of the like bloggers and critics and whatnot come to the set visit to try and like kind of help them like put them in a mindset of, hey,
we're going to be lighter.
Yeah. So this is that sequence, obviously, and some of that was intact in theatrical, but the thing that you don't have in this one, I guess this is a different scene.
There is the shot before that screen cap that you just picked up of like the plastic fluttering in the air. That was a different shot in the theatrical, and I have no idea on earth why you would take out the shot that he had in this film.
I imagine it was just trying to trim as much as possible. But no, I mean, it's always good. Like I said last time, it's always good to see Gordon in a Batman movie, obviously, and this one is no different. The little amount of time that we do get with Simmons' version of Gordon only makes me want more, because
hopefully more. Make the Batflex show movie, whatever it is. I don't care. Just make it.
Yeah, make it. Give it to us. Inject it in our veins.
What's funny about this too is the part where they're talking about the tunnels underneath Gotham Harbor. It makes me laugh every time when Bruce says it's the something project in Gotham that was abandoned in 29. Every time I hear the word abandoned in these movies, like it's uninhabited, it's abandoned. Like, make sure that everybody knows that
screams the studio being like, you got to make sure people know nobody's there, so nobody gets mad if buildings fall or
everybody got all bent out of shape after the destruction porn and Man of Steel. So
it was great.
They all I will not argue with you. I cannot argue. So they head down to the tunnels.
People, we need steaks.
Yes, we do.
I don't understand.
They head down to the tunnels, and I know there was a shot that was cut from the theatrical that you enjoyed that was in one of the trailers, Brandon, with Cyborg and Batman.
Didn't think you were real.
This little guy.
this scene. I'm real when it's useful.
Dude, the cowl batsuit in this whole sequence, the lighting on this throughout this whole sequence is it's great. And even when they walk into the next room where they're kind of like peeking down at Steppenwolf and all the parademons, there's a shot where he's kind of like kneeled down, and he's got this like glow on the front of the cowl. It's awesome.
Yeah, I do love that sequence right before they get into the thick of this Gotham Harbor area or whatever it is. I love that score. That's when that first kicks in. And I love just that like under the Nightcrawler shot when they're all just kind of dropping down.
Batman drops down. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I also say Wonder Woman's line there. I've got several quotes that you'll hear throughout this whole thing, because Chris Terrio, what can you say about the guy? He's phenomenal. But she says, "We're close. The scent of the enemy, at the absence, darkness, death." I'm like, God, come on. That's awesome.
Yeah. Great. Very good line. They like pick up the name tag of one of the Star Labs people. But the score, it's like that I was wondering, whenever
the percussive element
Hulkenberg,
too at the end of that little like riff that
mhm.
they have is so awesome. It almost gives me like Tool vibes.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean it's electric guitar, it's drums. I mean, it's very much a rock song and score. But yeah, really cool. I love it when it kicks in. It's not the only time you'll hear it in the movie, but yeah.
So they walk in and they see Steppenwolf interrogating and Parademons interrogating Star Labs folks, and this is the janitor that we saw. Well, we presumed was abducted earlier in the movie, and Silas kind of jumps in to try and save the janitor, and Victor sees that his dad's in danger and kind of reacts. His suit reacts. He reacts.
Just
and
destroys the handrail.
Yeah, it just rips the handrail up.
No regard for the handrail at all. Just rips it up.
With his acting, Ray's acting in this film is just phenomenal. The way he like turns it on and turns it off, like just the emotional spectrum he covers is just, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he saves his dad, and then Wonder Woman.
Was this the first time we get that like extra arm type?
That's a good question. It might be.
I think it is. Destroys the little spider drone thing or whatever.
Yeah. So Wonder Woman kind of jets down to save them from Steppenwolf and get another phenomenal Terrio line. Amazon, but not like your sisters, stronger.
Do the voice, Ryan.
That's impossible. That is impossible to do. I wouldn't presume to be able to do anything that Kieran Hines does. Are you about to try it? Is that what you're doing? You prepping?
No.
Yeah. So what was cool about this whole sequence to me is like Steppenwolf seems to recognize that she's kind of like the alpha of this group. And he even says once they kind of jump out into the main hangar area, or whatever area where the scaffolding was, he says something along the lines of like, this one's mine or something to the parademons, and they all like back off
and they fall back.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to note before we get to that, because I know that you're a big camera buff. Everybody knows it. We get it. Ryan's got a camera.
The rack focus.
They have this rack focus between this shot and old Steppy Step.
Yep.
And they kind of do it a few times, but it's really it's really cool because you see it, like it starts with this shot actually.
Yep.
But it comes back to it twice. But yeah,
what's cool about this one is like he's leading, like the camera and Steppenwolf's eye line is leading like to focus on the following shot that you're talking about.
Both he and Diane, like it's almost like a duel. Like they're waiting. He's like wanting to.
That's how it feels, like a Western deal.
Yeah,
like it's really like cool. Draw. Who's got the quick draw? But my favorite part about this action sequence between these two is when he kind of flies through that wall, and she like lassos up underneath the little bridge and lands and like puts the lasso behind her, and then like I can't even like do it justice, but like the powerfulness which she like
that's
pulls
the problem.
I
was trying to pick because I knew you were going to talk about that, because every time we watched it you were just like, oh
yeah.
It's hard to pick a sequence that really like gave that, because it's such a fluid motion that she does.
This is so 300. It's so awesome. Like the 300 vibes in this.
Yeah. Well, every time that she's just like very casually dodging parademon blasts.
Mm-hmm.
Like
there's another little shot where like she dodges one, but then she also like deflects one with the shield, like, and the light kind of like rainbows off, like reflection rainbows off the edge of the shield. Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's all great.
Lots of good Wonder Woman action in this sequence between her and Step, and them just going toe to toe.
Also enjoy it kind of when the fight breaks out. I enjoy the the Flash pushing the parademon. Just like thump.
Oh well, we haven't. Okay, I can get there. We'll skip to it. It's fine.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so he's kind of like dodging and diving, dodging parademon here, and there's I think there's 3 or 4 kind of sequences with the Flash in here where we kind of get this treatment where like you see like flashes of him in different positions, but he's just kind of moving all over the place. I
was trying to grab that actual screenshot, but I couldn't get a clear capture of it. Part? Of him just being like over there
against the wall.
Yeah. And doing his hot dog pose.
Right.
Loves the hot dogs.
That's right.
Yeah, we also get that Batman parademon small little interaction.
This is an example of the light I'm talking about in here with Batman, like just how it works off the cowl. Like you get that like that brow, like really accentuating the brow of the cowl. Just looks demonic.
As it should.
I agree.
He wants
Yeah, so Flash kind of starts helping. Batman says he's going to take care of the parademons, and Flash is kind of instructed to help lead folks out
to safety.
Yeah, I love the sequence where he's kind of jetting up and down. It's like a little quicker. You good? This way. He's just like up, down, like as in like top of the stairs, bottom of the stairs, top of the stairs, bottom of the stairs.
Yeah.
And everybody else is just kind of like sluggishly like.
I love that Vic's just like,
I got this.
He's putting somebody on his shoulder, just like starts walking up there.
Yeah.
That's so good.
But we also get a little cool grappling Batman sequence here. He grapples over or under a door and kicks a parademon down, and then get to see Alfred's gauntlets. At work, which they work.
They do.
Celebrate later, Alfred. I need the Nightcrawler.
Yeah. Thought you'd never ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that sequence. I love the transition too between him deflecting with the left gauntlet, and like the little rollover right gauntlet. Yeah, so cool. I just love that they do stuff like that with Batman this go around, to where he's still, because it's difficult to integrate Batman into a league scenario in my like
where he stands
so
with these people.
He has to just like he has to either just be a tactician for the league and very little involvement in terms of fighting, or he has to level up himself. And I love that they do that for him versus in the last one where he's just like,
well, also the fact that it's like the changes that are made for him are like defensive. Like you got that shot of like him and BVS where Doomsday is about to fry him and he's just oh shit, like he's got his arm up, like, so it was cool to actually see, like, you know, in a situation like that, like what are you going to use to protect yourself? For Batman, it's his gauntlets. Like how can you upgrade those to, you know, making it more feasible for him to
he's got to be able to, because he is the only human. I mean, has no powers. He's rich. So he's going to use his superpower and invest in some new tech.
That's right.
But yeah, speaking of Batman, I just come on, I think the name of this
come on,
the name of this still is Batman Batmaning, because it is. I love it.
Yeah, I mean,
and the one thing you will notice when this happens, no Batman theme, no only Batman theme, no Elfman, not anywhere to be heard at all.
Oh no!
It's amazing. I can't believe that they decided not to use Batman's only theme in this movie. Being facetious. Sorry.
Everybody knows, Brandon. Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
Yeah, I got it. I got it the first time.
Yeah. Hey. So everybody gets out, or Flash kind of guides these folks out of the building. And then Steppenwolf kind of drives Wonder Woman into a wall and sends debris down from the outside. And Flash kind of sees it falling, and then
it's something that I didn't really like upon initial viewings. I didn't catch that was the reason why the debris falls outside. That Flash has to kind of scoop in. Yeah, and this is actually that frame that we talked about.
You can kind of see him on the left where he's like, "How am I going to do this?" Like, what's the best?
So cool.
What's the best approach here?
You can see him there. Let me see if you can see my mouse. Nope. I don't think you can.
He's there on the left.
Yeah, you can. Right there.
There you go.
And then he's over here too. But yeah, he's going so fast.
He moves all these people except for moves all these rocks, save one that Victor blasts at the end. And I think one thing I did kind of want to talk about with Flash, and it's used a couple times in kind of this tunnel sequence or whatever harbor sequence, the like almost 8-bit Flash music when he's kind of like jetting around. It's so cool. It's just an awesome take on and you can contrast it with I think it would have been. I love that at the end of the movie he gets like his epic theme, at the moment where he's enters the Speed Force, starts reversing time. But I just this so fits his character, just kind of the lightheartedness of his character. So that's just something that I wanted to mention, that it happens that it plays during the sequence that we're talking about with the rocks falling.
Yeah, it's a really cool sequence. Just to kind of see, especially from their perspective, when it's underneath the cameras and they're just looking up.
Right.
But yeah, and then Victor saves the last little boulder, and then he has that little moment with his dad, where he's like, "Go ahead."
Didn't think you'd come thing.
Yeah.
You're my dad.
My father.
Yeah.
My father. And then he's like, "Go."
You're giving me like Tropic Thunder vibes when you said that with what does he say when he's trying to cry at the beginning of Tropic Thunder? You're my brother.
You're my brother. You're my brother.
It's like spitting.
Yeah.
So then
ready to do the scene again.
Yeah. We cutting or we crying?
Action Jackson can't cry.
We rewrites now. So the Flash runs back inside, and kind of to in the middle of a sequence where Wonder Woman's falling and her sword is out of her reach, and he does this thing.
Well, just before that, we get that awesome little camera move where.
Sorry, I didn't bring a sword.
Well, I guess before the da-na-na-na part, they have that camera move where he the camera rotates with him as he's getting into the cockpit. But this is my turn. Not the I didn't bring a sword. You didn't miss that line, Brandon? You didn't miss it? I didn't miss it at all.
Saying it as if everybody out there has a sword when it's just one person that has one person.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, sorry, I did have to. I just I like the Batman.
So. I especially enjoy the touch of when he touched the tip of the sword, the little like lightning or almost like static lightning kind of like ripples down the blade.
Yeah. I love how the effect that they use for the Flash, it kind of wraps around the objects. Like you'll see it, especially like in the resurrection scene. Yeah. Like you can, before it, as it's like going to the box, it just starts like wrapping itself around his finger and stuff. It's like,
it adds a different, it adds like a 3-dimensional element to like, so it's not just like slow down video kind of thing. Like it adds like kind of like a depth to the effect, I think.
Yeah.
And there she is catching that sword, which I don't fully get. I'll be honest with you. I don't fully understand why
she needed to catch it.
Because
I was thinking I had the exact same thought that you just said. Like we haven't talked about this, but I was like, why does she? I mean, yeah, she needs her
she just
sword.
Lands. Yeah.
But yeah, she lands and she would have grabbed it when she landed.
Right. I feel like that was just like, this is a cool Flash opportunity. We gotta use it. Hey, it looks great. So
it does. It's true.
I will take it. So
I guess I forgot that I pulled this.
That's okay, Brandon. That's okay. We already talked about it.
Yeah. Next.
So yeah, then Cyborg kind of dive bombs into the area where they are, and this is when we kind of see the mask that kind of like flips over his face, like in practical application for the first time, as he busts through the Nightcrawler. Which I love the shot where it's cool seeing that like front on shot where he's flying into camera, but I love when it like backs up and you just see like the impact of him just like disappearing into it, and the metal just
it's it gives great. You a sense for like I love that it's a practical thing as far as why he would need it, because that's his face. It's a moneymaker.
They do a great job in this movie with Cyborg specifically, of like explaining or kind of like illustrating how like heavy he is and like how dense he is, like just like in the way he like lumbers around and like this kind of thing. Like he's not like just this like super light alloy.
It's similar to the way Killer Croc does it in Suicide Squad, where he's like trying to be an actual crocodile.
What does he say? I was born down here or something, like when he gets
y'all just tourists.
Y'all just tourists. Oh gosh. Yeah. There you get like that where he like slithers into the water, basically.
Yeah.
Like it's like almost as bad as like Aquaman in Justice League, where he like in Iceland.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he takes over the Nightcrawler. And this another Terrio line that I'll mention here, where Brandon, you can talk about this first, but I was kind of jumping ahead. I love the Wonder Woman Steppenwolf interaction when they're down in the actual tunnels. But if you had something you want to say about
I was just gonna do this whole relax off right. I'll take it from here. In comparison to the theatrical, where I think he's even upside down in the theatrical. But like having because Steppenwolf like breaks the glass on the Nightcrawler, and this
so
scene
much
like
symbolism here. It's so awesome.
Just it's
he's not broken and he's not alone.
Exactly. No, I just love just the visual element alone, the camera moving in all this like fractal like glass. It's just really cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, so Steppenwolf and Diana kind of meet at the bottom of this structure, and she does her, bang, gauntlet explosion. But there's a great line in there where Steppenwolf kind of like realizes what's going on, what's different about her. He says, "You have the blood of the old gods in you," and it's just so like, I don't know. It's so much heavier in this movie when you like have the Themyscira sequence at the beginning of the movie that we did, and when you actually do have other new gods in the movie, it kind of is a little heavier too.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it's just another line that I love. And they start fighting, and a rocket gets shot down at old Steppenwolf, and he catches it and decides, hey, let me just pop a hole in this inside of this bad boy. Let them fend.
Yeah, they shoot one, he dodges it, shoots another one, just grabs it, looks at it.
Mm.
He's like, yeah, he's gonna eat it there.
Yeah. Yeah. So he just turns it to the side, and it hits the wall. And
I love how casually he does it too. He's just like, it's almost like a mic drop. He's just like,
right,
just like drops it.
Yeah. And then the water starts flying in, and everybody's kind of scrambling to get to the Nightcrawler. But Aquaman comes in through the hole, and there you go. Does this trident thing, and holds the water back enough for them to get to safety. I always kind of laugh at this sequence when Batman and Flash are like limping, like run limping, back to the Nightcrawler. But yeah, so and then Cyborg kind of directs the Nightcrawler and starts crawling up the side of the wall as the water's flooding in. And everybody, all the League is hanging on the outside of it as they're going vertical up this huge wall. And then every time, man, Wonder Woman slams her sword like right into where the cockpit is. And I always just imagine it just hitting Victor right in the face where he has
his only human part.
This movie could have ended real quickly. Nightcrawler falls off, they all get smashed.
It's like that I know you don't watch The Office, but Dwight I think it's Michael was adding like a robot in one episode, and I think it's Pam removes his battery, like acts like I remove your battery, and he's like, I was just learning to love. And he just like stops. That's what I imagine Victor saying. Yeah, I love this sequence. I don't know why. Well, I know why, but this shot right here, the cape movement, I just love. I love that like heavy looking, like flowing cape. For whatever reason, I just always look for it in this sequence right here.
Just like you love it in the theatrical of Justice League and Heroes Park, where he's laying on.
Yep. Not a lot of movement though.
Yeah. So yeah, Steppenwolf booms out, and we get another shot.
Wait, Cyborg bails.
He does bail.
Bails.
Yeah. Real quick. He just leaves him hanging on the wall. Later. You guys can figure this out, right? So yeah, we get another shot back in at the monolith in the Russian city, and the boxes had called Steppenwolf back. So he walks up to the monolith. He says, "What is it?" He puts his hand in it, and we basically get the history lesson. Oh, look at Puss in Boots.
I know.
He's so he just adorable. Wants to go home.
I love this shot too. I just love I love that transition. He closes his eyes and then he opens them and he's there. Like those little puppy dog eyes. Such a little cutie.
Chill out, Brandon. He's standing over Steppenwolf over there. So yeah, we get the history lesson shot that we essentially have with Darkseid, where he's kind of combing the ground with his fingers, but Steppenwolf in his place, and he slams the ground, and you see the anti-life equation appear on the surface there. Yeah. And I love the I think it was in one of the teaser trailers, the scream that he lets out, like the for just like primitive like howl scream. Which, like, knowing the context, he's just thinking like, yes, finally I've got some good news.
Redemption. So we need to overdub that. We need to take out his scream on it. He's like, yes, yes, I can go home.
Oh, poor guy. Oh, poor Steppenwolf.
I know.
All right. So then we get a quick
look at
shot.
him. He's so pitiful. He just wants to go home, guys.
And he does go home. Part of him.
Yeah. He heads home.
That's look at you. Look at you. So then we get a quick little sequence of basically all the heroes outside, kind of, and with Aquaman this time, where he kind of reveals that
he doesn't say the dress second like box.
Yeah, he does not. But he does reveal that Steppenwolf has taken the Atlantean box, and they're all worried that he may also have the box of man. And Cyborg kind of superhero landings in and says, nope, I got it right here. And that's what he's got right there.
That's where I went. Sorry, I should have let you know. But I didn't.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, how'd you guys get out of there? Sorry, I left you in a tight spot. So then we get, for whatever reason, I know I always talk about the Amazonian sequence at the beginning of the movie is one that I kind of like when I think about this movie. One of the first things I think about. It's also these sequences at the monolith with Steppenwolf, Desaad, and Darkseid, and we get a great one here where Steppenwolf calls Desaad, and just the dialogue. Any dialogue when the monolith is activated, where Steppenwolf's talking to Desaad or Darkseid, it's just, you couldn't write anything better. Just how everything's phrased, how epic everything sounds. Like Desaad opens with, "Have you finished the conquest?" Like it just sounds so like, I don't know, grand.
Have you finished the conquest? He's got that once again
needle
those
teeth. Yeah.
Can't even replicate it.
And no chance. And he also so Steppenwolf kind of says that he talks about how Darkseid long ago had found the anti-life equation, but he was defeated. And he interrupts him and he says the story of the Defiance is well known, like in like that hissing, voice that he's got. But he insists that he's got the anti-life equation is here, and then we get I love how they transition from Desaad to Darkseid. Desaad almost like says this like seance, like you don't know like what he's actually speaking, but he's just like basically hissing some kind of language. And then you get a shot of Steppenwolf, and you see the parademons behind him like starting to kneel, and Steppenwolf's kind of like what's going on? Like, is this my moment?
It ain't his moment.
Yep. So Darkseid pops into the monolith, and he's sponsored by CapeCast. And
yeah, sorry, Darkseid.
Yeah,
got you out there. Here, let me get
there you go. But what's it looks great, obviously. But what's striking about this scene is how Steppenwolf reacts. In my opinion, he kind of like stumbles back in his armor. It's almost like he didn't even like manually do it, but like just like physiologically, like he just like complete submission. You know, his armor retracts, and he's like, all right, this is I gotta shine, gotta be sharp here, Steppy. You can do this.
I love when he's like, "You'll come to Earth."
Yeah. You're gonna come here to see me?
Come see me. Finally.
Right. I love this is where we get to see or witness the all great Ray Porter voice for the first time, and the first line is just so great. He just goes, "Oh, Steppenwolf," like just like he's like such a bug, like
yeah.
He says something along the lines of like, "Is it true that you have found it?" Maybe I think he may just say it.
Yeah, maybe.
But I wrote down a quote in here just because it's more Terrio dialogue that I love. But he says, "If it is redemption you seek, find the third box, synchronize the unity, and when this world is scorched, I will come for my great prize. I will stride across their bones and bask in the glow of anti-life, and all of existence shall be mine." Suck on that, Thanos.
For real.
God.
So great.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I love this shot too, just showing, I mean, even though he's there as a projection, just showing that
imposing
power dynamic.
Yeah. It's I love how like physically, even going back to Doomsday and BVS, just how like physically imposing these characters are. Like it's not messing around. But the transition that we got from theatrical to Zack Snyder's Justice League, Steppenwolf, night and day as far in that regard, where like, I mean, the dude looked like a joke in the theatrical, and instead, even when he's got his armor pulled back, like he's just so alien. Like the physiology is just so like he's huge and imposing, but it's also like creepy, gross, kind of like a structure, like skeletal structure, and that kind of thing.
He's almost his like he's got like I don't know, like sunspots or something. Like his skin's all like like
it's very alien looking. It's very alien, and he actually does a great job. Even though I'm not like the hugest fan of all the Martian Manhunter like dialogue in this movie, he does a great job with Martian Manhunter's skin too. Like it just has this like, it's very not human skin, and even a very different way from Steppenwolf and Doomsday and Darkseid.
We'll get to that
for sure. So after this little sequence here, we get the crew shows up at Wayne Hangar, Aerospace Hangar. Cyborg walks in and sees the flying fox, and he says it wants to fly, which is cool because it's kind of like that kind of stuff kind of gives you an insight into how his mind operates like as a machine, like we definitely get to see the like human side of Victor in this movie, but it's cool. Those little things give you a taste of like as he's walking around his day-to-day life, like he looks at a vehicle and he's like essentially talking to it because he's a machine also.
Yep. So good little layer of that duality for his character.
Yeah, for sure. And so we get the shot that has been talked about so much, where all the group is kind of gathered around the table, and it's been kind of well discussed how like the camera rig setup that Zack had going for this bad boy, where like I think when we were on the vodka stream, I think Stephen Colbert mentioned that it was 6 cameras. I could be wrong. I think he said 6.
Yeah, it's either 6 or 7. Can't remember.
But yeah, I mean, they had tracks, and I mean, the beam splitters, like it. Yeah, it's
pretty crazy because it's not a shot that calls a lot of attention to itself.
Yeah,
but it seemed like, because you could do this in multiple takes, but it seemed like Snyder wanted to do this to kind of retain
get all the organic reaction, and yeah,
right.
One shot
deal.
Deal as a non-one shot.
It's a one shot, but it's cutting between different cameras from the one shot, from the same scene. So it doesn't. But in that way, it to me it works like at a different level, because again, it's like one of those things that's not like, it's not pulling it, because a lot of time when I watch like a one shot, like a oneer, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about the technical thing. Because, we haven't cut in a while. This is a oneer. This is intentional. They're not cutting. Like,
sure.
Okay, yeah, it's impressive. At some point, it's like, okay, are you doing this just because you want to draw attention? See how difficult this was for us to do in one take? Like, okay, or is like the opposite story? Because it's like it's pulling you out of the movie is what it usually does. It's making you look at it on a technical level instead of being immersed in it. So this doesn't have that pulling out, like, vibe to it. It's just a cool thing that he probably spent more time than anyone would care, as far as like, oh, okay, cool, and then move on. But at the same time, it was important for him to be able to use that. He wanted, like you're saying, all the interaction to be.
It's so gorgeous, just because they're standing at a table which is circular. They're all positioned in a circular way. All the cameras are moving circular, like rotating and revolving. Like it just. And
I think
really
green
playing
screens
off
behind them are rotating
everything
as well.
Are they?
They had green screens behind so that they could cut them out. The cameras that's looking at the characters, they needed to be able to like rotoscope those characters out, or the background, So they had, I'm pretty sure they had green screens on tracks in sync with the cameras.
It's just so cool because you get these shots like kind of like camera or table up rotating, and then they'll like cut to like a shot of like you're seeing like the camera move right behind somebody, but the person across from the tables who's in focus, like it's a masterclass, this scene.
It's really cool seeing that the storyboard too, of how he kind of planned it out from the beginning.
So yeah, then all the guys and gals
I love that little moment. Well, sorry, I didn't want to get it. Sorry, you might even be touching on this.
I was just saying they're kind of questioning like why Cyborg knows so much about this stuff. Why, like, like what are his intentions? Are they good? Are they bad? And like, I think Bruce even says like, how'd you get the box, Victor? And he's like, you trying to say something?
Yeah.
He's like, you got, and then Aquaman maybe says you got somewhere to be, or before he jumps into his kind of like history lesson with the mother boxes. Yeah. I wanted to mention too, so I don't forget. It kind of jumps into how the Nazis found the box in World War II, and I love that they show Vic in his like Letterman's jacket, like this get up. It reminds me so much of the Matrix, like residual self-image kind of deal. Like this is kind of how he like pictures himself, like, because I mean at this point in the movie, like he's still struggling with
it's like that's his identity
now. Right.
and then it was taken away from him, essentially. So
right. But yeah, so he kind of explains how the mother box ends up in at Star Labs and in his father's hands, and the nature of the accident that took his mother and deformed him and disabled him. And this shot's awesome. I love this shot. I don't know if we ever saw a storyboard for this shot, but I would love to see how Zack drew this. But it's just super powerful. Like like kind of what we were just talking about. You've got him there in his football letterman's jacket, and then like as he sees himself as this, or as he's like trying to cope with himself as being this machine. So then the conversation kind of shifts to like, how can we, or like, what are the nature of mother boxes? Like, kind of how do they operate? And Vic kind of explains thus the name Change Machine for this part. He says, well, I actually, you know what, I actually do want to say, and have another quote here, kind of talking about when he was given the background on the mother box with his dad. He says, in an act of desperation or madness, the researcher harnessed the power of the box. He unleashed an alien technology he didn't fully understand. He used that technology to keep me alive. And then he says that researcher was Silas Stone, my father. Just artful dialogue again. But they are talking about the change machines, and Victor's quote is, "They're change machines. The boxes don't think in terms of healing or killing, alive or dead. They rearrange matter." I think he even says like at the will of their master, or something along those lines.
Particles of house, particles of smoke.
Become particles of smoke. A match can turn a house to smoke, but a mother box turn a smoke back into a house. A smoke.
It's gonna say
can turn a smoke.
I'm gonna say it.
Yeah. So naturally, this is where they start talking about, can we bring old Soups back?
Supergirl.
Who is that, Brandon? I don't know. That looks like a lady's leg.
Like a lady leg to me. Yep. Hey.
Yes.
What do you want me to say?
I'm sorry.
For everything.
Oh, this is why we do a show together, Brandon. This is why we do a show together. Yeah, Flash also says, I know we're all thinking the same thing right now. Like he said, yeah. I'm not going to say it. Basically, so then they kind of have to weigh whether it's worth activating this box that Steppenwolf's going to come and immediately steal to begin the Unity process with reviving Soups. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything
now,
more
is that in this moment, or is that at the end? Because that's how it ends, right?
What's that? What do you mean?
Do you combine that with, because the ending it comes back to, because we have this Martha Lois scene, and then it comes back to the hangar. So is that, I'm trying to remember. So
it could be. In my notes, I had it back then, but I could have jumped it.
Okay.
Or just put it back up. Yeah. So we do get a sequence with old Martha and Lois. Well, kind of Martha. Martha and Manhunter.
Yeah.
And I know you were not a huge fan of like kind of taking the lead out of this.
I wish
interaction.
Here's what I wish. Because I love this scene. Love this scene between Martha and Lois. It takes the wind out of it a little bit with the reveal after this, with the Martian Manhunter stuff. Because a lot of the things that Martha says is so specific to Martha and Lois and their relationship.
Yeah. The other thing for me though is the nature of his, like, he's a telepath. So
yeah. I mean, you can reason it, I guess, but I just it undermines it to me.
I can understand that argument.
I wish, here's how I wish it would have played out. I wish that they would have had this scene and then somehow maybe this scene happens earlier and then they have another scene where Martha comes, like maybe Swanwick is standing outside and sees her leave. And then the next thing you see is Martha like at the door, and Lois goes like, "Oh, did you forget something or something?" And they have a little bit of dialogue, and then door closes, and then he, it's like, I don't know how I'm not a writer, so I don't know how you make it like cool, but like as far as like,
yeah, I get you.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so that it doesn't take the,
I'll shoot it over to Chris Terrio and
yeah. I'm just saying, let's remake this. Start a hashtag.
No, dude, I can understand what you're saying. Like, I mean, I would be lying if I said I didn't feel the same way.
Otherwise, we don't really have. All the things that are said in this scene are great, and the emotion there, especially on Lois's part. Talking about Clark.
That's where the telepath thing comes in for me. I think where like he's just trying to facilitate things. Like this is all stuff that like she is thinking, like he's just expressing it, and I understand. Sure. I get it, man. Like when I watched this the first time, like I felt the same way. I just like I can understand how like for a comic book movie, like this is a cool like this is straight out this sequence right here. Like there's movie, and then there's like this is like ripped out of a comic book. This would happen in a comic book straight up, like from frame to frame. Like
Well, the problem for me is I like both. Like I do like that it's Martian Manhunter, but I also want it to be both. I want it to be this endearing moment between Martha, not Martian Manhunter, and Lois. Like I want it to be both somehow. And in my head canon, I'm just like, well, I don't know. Like, because you can't watch this scene as what's presented in terms of it being a conversation between Martha and Lois. You have to, after the fact, you got to be like, okay, well, how does this relate if you're talking about Lennox's or Swanwick's relationship with Lois? And I'm trying to make sense of it and into things that are said, and I just feel like I didn't feel like they had that tight of a relationship in previous movies to where he would do this personally. Like they had a relationship, sure, but to this degree, like, I mean, I guess if he is Martian Manhunter and he knows that Superman was her boyfriend or whatever, he would, and he's been in hiding, then I guess he would be like, I probably should go check in on her. And he's, the whole point of his character in this story is for him to, take up the fight, come and join the fight essentially instead of living in hiding. So I get that. I'm not saying it's bad and it's a wrong take. I'm trying to navigate through having hesitation.
Pull there. Yeah. So we get the shot where she walks away from the door, transforms to Martian Manhunter, then transforms to Swanwick, and his line is, "The world needs you too, Lois," which I think he mentioned the other day, actually, that he shot this in his driveway as well.
It's crazy. It is crazy.
Like that's the thing for me with this scene is like, I would have loved to see how he had this rigged up to control the lighting like he did if he shot it in his driveway. Because it's like,
that's what I was curious too. Well, not necessarily the Martian Manhunter side of it because that's all CG, but but definitely the Harry Lennox Swanwick version.
Yeah, I don't know what they did. Like if it was they're not going to go out there and shoot when it's about to thunderstorm.
Well, I just wonder if that sequence where the camera's moving through this like stair, like you see like the Cape pickets or whatever they're called.
The bigots.
What are they called?
I feel like dowels or like I can't remember.
I don't know. But anyway, whatever.
It's not important. Everybody let us know in the comments.
The cape kind of drops down, you know, and
yeah.
I wonder if they shot that in production, banking on adding this later, or if that part is like a CG. Like
I would imagine that's CG. Yeah. I could be wrong, but that would be my guess. It's also not like I feel like that wouldn't be as difficult with CG because it is very like out of focus. Like it's not as like it's not like a crisp line animation kind of deal. So they probably, you know, don't have to get too like got to make this perfect because it's so out of focus.
Yeah.
So then we kind of jump back like you were talking about, where the league decides that whether is deciding whether they're going to risk activating the mother box to resurrect Superman. And this is kind of the first time that we see like Bruce's real like hard-headedness with this this whole like situation. He says there are 6, not 5. There is no us without him.
Yeah.
And you know, we always joke. I'm sure we'll talk about it in the next part. But how Bruce is just like, do it.
We knew that already. Keep going.
Yeah. Don't stop. He does like 4 times. But yeah, so that kind of wraps up the or part 4.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, it is progressively, I've mentioned this to you in text, but it's getting progressively harder to narrow down screen caps. Like there's so
Every
many
week,
that I want to pull.
sends me a text and he's like, oh god, there's even more screenshots or screen grabs this week.
Yeah.
By the end of the epilogue, it's just gonna be we'll just have to play the movie. Like we're not even gonna come here and talk.
That's probably the best bet. Just talk over it, do a little mini commentary on it. Yeah. That's basically what we're doing anyway. Yeah. Well, that can be another series. Dang it.
Oh, come on, don't undercut it. At least we're not content, Brandon.
At least we haven't kind of trapped ourselves into committing to do it by the minute like Dyson Colbert. Jeez, goodness. That's a commitment right there.
Yeah,
they do fantastic job. But man,
yeah, I'm amazed. I love their. Oh man, it's so awesome to listen to that show, and it is amazing that they can do that.
They can. They're gonna. It's good that they can because we're doing it for a while
for the foreseeable future. All right. Well, that wraps up our part 4 Change Machine review. For Zack Snyder's Justice League. We will be back next week to review part 5. Sounds like we've got a special guest that will be joining us. So stay tuned for that. Also give us a follow on Twitter at CapeCast Show. And here on YouTube, obviously hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we just hit 500 subscribers this week. So thank you guys. We launched a Patreon because of it. So any support you guys can give us in that regard is awesome. We hugely appreciate it. The link for that is down below in the description. So Brandon, until next week, my friend.
So long.